Yo, guys, what is up? Welcome back to the Premier League Roundup. I hope you guys are having a good week. I hope you guys have watched your Premier League teams win. Um, I have, but I know how tight the game was. So yeah, I can't wait to start the video. So let's not waste any more time and let's get started. So game week 16 actually started off with a thrilling comeback from Brentford in what was you could call I would call a relegation 6 pointer. I know a lot of people wouldn't agree with me, but I think Brentford's form has been it's been iffy over the last 10 games. If you look back at it, you would be hard pressed to find a lot of wins. They've won 2 out of their last like 8. It's not the best record considering they've played beatable teams to say the least. So I think it was very essential that they won this game, and it's given them a decent amount of momentum going into the huge Man United game. Which, if they win, then I will officially have them to stay up because they are 10th. But if you look at it, they're only 5 points off 5 points off 16th. So it's not a big gap between 10th and 16th right now. So one or two wins or losses could just about sway them in the wrong direction. But a good performance from Brentford, beating a resolute Watford side who would be furious the way the game ended. The fact that it was a 95th minute penalty that won Brentford the game, and the penalty itself was ridiculous. I mean, what a stupid challenge to make from the Watford defender. I mean, it's purely brainless, and it's kept Watford in the relegation zone. And yeah, moving on to the first or the second of Saturday games, technically. Um, it was the 12:30 kickoff for this one, and it was Manchester City versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, apart from that one season against Wolves, Manchester City actually have a very good record. If you discount the season where Liverpool won the league, um, Manchester City have beaten Wolves 3 out of 4 times coming into this game. Obviously, you can't do that. But still, even if you add that, they've still beaten them 3 out of 6 times, drawing once and losing twice. And yeah, most people expected Manchester City to win. I think people were worried because of the way Wolves play, and there's a lot that happened in this game. So, and it was related to how Wolves play. So I'll just talk about that for a bit. So, I mean, first of all, a word on Wolves. I am not a fan of Bruno Lage. I think he's a good coach and all, but it's almost disgraceful the way he plays football. It's not almost, sorry, it is disgraceful the way his Wolves side set up to play against Manchester City. I'm sorry, I have seen Southampton go to the Etihad this season and take the game to us. So I don't want to hear that teams can't do it. I've seen Crystal Palace do it. I it's not as hard as people make it to be. Yeah, you could lose the game 5-0 as evidenced by Arsenal and Norwich, but you could also come away with something as evidenced by Southampton and Palace. If you don't take a risk, you are more likely to lose than you are after taking a risk. And what a disgraceful performance from Bruno Lage's man. I know I'm not going to talk a lot about the second half because the second half, apart from the penalty, which I will talk about, it was always going to be a dominating half from the citizens. But the first half, oh my God, these Wolves players. Holy, they're such pretenders and actors, and the way they fell to the floor every time, it was nothing short of disgraceful. And it's not even just that, the fact that they literally had 7-3 or a 7-2-2 or a 7-2-1, sorry, as their formation. They literally had 7 defenders back at all times. It was nothing short of disgraceful. And I hate teams who do this kind of stuff. I really, really can't stand teams like this, and they did not deserve to win. As for the red card, I don't know what Raul Jimenez is thinking, to be honest. He's one of the most accomplished strikers in the Premier League at this at this current time. So for him to be doing something so foolish, and the fact that he was arguing about it as well, my God. Okay, the first one might not have been a yellow card, but if you actually look back at it, Rodri and I think it was Ruben Diaz were given yellows for slightly worse but similar challenges to the first Jimenez challenge. So it wasn't like the referee wasn't giving it to the City players either. The City players got undeserved yellows as well. So um I understand that's a debate, but the second yellow card, I mean, what is he doing? What is he trying to do? He fully had intention to block it. If you look away and you block the free kick being taken quickly, you won't get sent off because you can be like, ref, I wasn't looking. You looked at them trying to take the free kick. I don't understand what he was thinking, and it was a disgraceful red card. As for the penalty decision, no, it's not a penalty. It definitely isn't a penalty. But Manchester City weren't the only team to get a dodgy penalty. So I don't like the media focus just on us getting the penalty when Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man United all had as controversial penalties. But anyways, I guess that's what happens when you're a massive club, you know. But it's it definitely isn't a penalty. I'm a City fan, but it's not a penalty. It's hit his underarm. It's not supposed to be a penalty, but they've given it, so I'm not going to complain. And congratulations to Raheem Sterling for joining the 100 club, and congratulations for Ederson for keeping his 100th Manchester City clean sheet. What a ridiculous record considering he had almost 2 seasons playing with Otamendi and Fernandinho as their centre backs. So what a brilliant statistic that is from Eddie, and he actually made a very important save at the 90 like third minute of the game. I was nervous to say the least, but yeah, it was a much needed 3 points from Manchester City to keep the momentum going. And yeah, moving on to the uh, Chelsea Leeds game. What a thrilling game this one was. Chelsea beat Leeds 3 goals to 2 with controversial penalties. Not that controversial. I mean, both of them were penalties, but um, yeah, I mean, Chelsea looked awful again. And if we're gonna get a really good indicator of was how much of it was Leeds and how much of it was Chelsea in terms of like the performance, because Leeds play City tomorrow night at 12. So we're gonna get an indicator of, was it Leeds being very good or was it Chelsea being really bad. I'm I'm not trying to take anything away from Leeds because I think Leeds are one of the most tactically like tactically smart football teams in the league, you could say. But I do think Chelsea were rubbish. But at the end of the day, in this Christmas period or this festive period, all that matters is the 3 points, and they got that, and they are still in a point or two distance of the top two Premier League teams, which is Manchester City and Liverpool. So yeah, moving on to Liverpool versus Aston Villa, definitely not a penalty either, by the way. And if this was a penalty, then the one for Aston Villa should have been as well, where Alisson did not get the ball. I don't know why people said it wasn't a penalty. Maybe I've missed something there. So if I have, correct me. But from just watching that clip, that looked like a penalty. This was not a penalty, but of course, no one talks about this. The headline for this was Mohamed Salah got the, it shows why he's the king, but for Manchester City, it was Manchester City get controversial penalties. So make of that what you will. Other than that, it was an okay performance from Liverpool. All three sides looked really shoddy today. They really looked they didn't look at their best. So yeah, it's something to notice, I guess. But at the end of the day, all three got wins, and all three are in touching distance of each other. So yeah. Um, Arsenal ended their string of bad results. I guess their two bad losses to Man United and Everton by a amazing win against Southampton. The biggest news from this game was Aubameyang being dropped. So yeah, they play West Ham next. I'm intrigued to see how that goes for Arsenal. Yeah. Um, and Manchester United beat Norwich 1-0. Again, controversial penalty, not a penalty, but yeah, they were outplayed, Man United, for most of the game. There were patches they were fine, but it's not a good performance from Ralph Rangnick's Reds. He has a lot of work to do, Ralph Rangnick, a lot of work. So yeah, uh, moving on to the last part of the game week, which was yesterday's round of fixtures. Well, I mean, it started off with a quite boring nil-nil draw with West Ham and Burnley. West Ham probably probably not too happy that the game didn't go ahead. That the game didn't go the way they wanted it to, but not a bad point, I guess. But still, now the pressure on the Arsenal game is huge because they have to beat Arsenal, which I have a feeling Arsenal beat West Ham, but maybe that's just me. Um, Leicester absolutely annihilated Newcastle 4-0. Newcastle are getting relegated. I mean, if Newcastle stay in the Premier League, I will personally fly to Newcastle and I will run topless in the streets of Newcastle. They're not staying up in the league. I'm sorry. So yeah, and the last game was quite a thrilling game to say the least. Um, it was a brilliant performance from Crystal Palace. It was a brilliant performance from Conor Gallagher, and they deserve to win. So fair play to them. So fair play. I mean, what a performance from Conor Gallagher. What a signing he's turned out to be, Conor Gallagher. I mean, he's definitely one of the best players. He's definitely one of the best players in the league right now, and that says something really. So yeah, and I I I think that's gonna be it for today's Premier League roundup video. Now we're just gonna have a look at the table after 16 games. Yeah, I mean, this is how it looks. And if you look honestly, I wanted to focus. I look at when I was putting this photo up. I wanted to focus on the top two teams because I think they haven't got enough praise from me recently. Manchester City and Liverpool are incredible. I mean, as footballing teams go, these two are the best in the world, along with Bayern Munich and Chelsea are there as well. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know, something about Manchester City and Liverpool give me some sort of inevitability about them, and I really really admire Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp to like another level, if that makes sense. You know, I really admire them both. They're brilliant managers, and yeah, I mean, eh, Manchester City and Liverpool always have fun title races, so I can't wait for this one. Um, I mean, I just don't want heart attacks. You know, the one thing I was getting towards the end of the Wolves game is it was so nervous to sit down and watch because whenever the game is 0-0 against the Wolves, you're always worried about, oh shit, if they get another chance, what do we do now? You know, and as much as I as much as I knew we were gonna win, always a bit of nerves. So yeah. Um, the next round of Premier League fixtures actually starts in. Wait, I'm just having just an exact hours amount of time. The next round starts in just about 36 hours. Brentford. It starts off with Brentford versus Manchester United, and Norwich versus Aston Villa follows with it, and then Leeds v Manchester City follows that. Um, a lot of nice fixtures coming up. Liverpool play Newcastle in a game they're gonna win about 5-0. So it's at Anfield as well. There, if Newcastle get anything out of this Liverpool game, I will personally write a apology letter to Eddie Howe. Oh my god, it's just not gonna happen, is it? It's just not gonna happen. So yeah. This is actually a shorter video than I expected, but I think it's because we're missing the one game from the Tottenham game. Tottenham have missed a two games, I think. And actually, if Tottenham win those games, as unlikely as it is, Tottenham go fourth if Tottenham win their two games in hand. Um, yeah, that's quite ridiculous, you know. So Tottenham go fourth, and Man United goes sixth, Arsenal goes seventh, Leicester go ninth. The whole table moves down basically if Tottenham win their two games in hand. But and even Brighton have a game in hand. So if Brighton win their game, they go eighth. Yeah, the table is not as it was because I remember up till like the 13th game week, it was quite like everyone had played the equal amount of games. So now it is gonna start to get a little bit, a little bit less, a little bit less coherent, if that makes sense. So yeah, um, that's gonna be it for today's Premier League video. Um, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna be coming back. I don't know when actually. I don't know how it's gonna work now because I'm looking at the Premier League schedule and there's games on Friday, Saturday. I actually don't know how I'm gonna cover this because I don't want to because bro Sunday's Tottenham Liverpool. I mean, but Liverpool play Friday. Ah, Jurgen Klopp is gonna be furious about that. Oh my god. They're gonna have a day of rest in between. Jurgen Klopp is gonna be furious. Yeah, this is. Oh, and then they play Leicester in 2 days again. Jurgen Klopp is gonna be furious. But yeah, anyways, that's gonna be all for today. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you guys. I don't know when next. Peace out.